we ask for a good day of work for the Petersburg group that's going to go do some work today, a good day of travel for Calvary Baptist and RMI as we head over the mountains to Damé Marie. This is the day that the Lord hath made. We will rejoice and be glad in it. We just ask that you would help us to glorify you in all we do the days ahead.
After a rough night's sleep because of intermittent power in a stuffy room with 11 people in it, we set off for Damé Marie. We had 4 trucks, 18 people, and a ton of stuff.
With my job, I've traveled all over the world. I've seen a lot of third world countries, but I'd never been outside the fence line, so to speak. And once I went, I was like, absolutely, everybody's got to go. Everybody should go. We tried to go the next year together, but we were unable to, so my wife Sarah went. And then this time we were going to go together, and then she was unable to, so then I went. We're hoping that next time we can go together.
Lord, we pray for safety for each vehicle, each person on the road. Allow us to get to Damé Marie, Father, without delay, that we might be able to rejoice with our brothers and sisters. No. You put air in it by pumping.
We're ready to go. We want to leave in 2 minutes, a minute and a half. We'll be right on time. That'll be the only time.
You're kidding.
Ever done it.
Man, no, get in there now. We got to go early.
You ready for this?
I'm ready. So the truck we're riding is the only vehicle to ever make it to the North Pole. Hopefully it'll make it outward.
Well, not this particular truck, but
Yeah,
this brand.
No, this one. This very one.
Bye, Drew.
I was so excited to get going and finally get out to Damé Marie.
Money, isn't that pretty stuff?
It was a good time for us girls to kind of just talk about what our intentions were for when we got there and how to do the ladies' tea and stuff like that. It was also a good time. We got to know Mary and Serge and talk to them. But it was really cool to see, you get a better view of how the people live than what we did in the city.
Man, can you keep this thing steady?
Too bad there's no smell-o-vision because
From Kai to Damé Marie was the mileage difference is only 1/3 of the mileage, I think, of the trip we had done the day before, but the duration was twice as long. The roads were a mess.
there are only a few roads to Damé Marie, and there is pavement, occasionally. It's mostly very rocky and dusty. Ow, that was my head.
Be driving through the mountain and there'd be like random houses or random little villages, and the people would stare at us, but they still seemed to be very friendly. Like they would wave and smile, so it was kind of interesting.
Chart the course, 'cause I'm confused with all the things that I hear. Like c'est la vie carpe diem, and it's the way it is, get on with it and live our lives now.
kidding. Ever done it. We'll be right on time. That'll be the only time.
We're driving along. Gary is he is leading the trip. We're cruising along. He says, "Wow, this is great. We've made it this far. We might make it on time." That might be the first time we ever make it in on time. And we all think, "Oh, great." And sure enough, 2 minutes later, it seemed flat tire.
This is life in Haiti, buddy. It's not the first time something has happened on the road. Well, this is by far the worst.
We are stuck. Just as you're starting to see the water, we're coming through the mountains, and we hear that there's just an hour or so left. The tires are flat, and it's a dually truck. It's this. I haven't seen another dually truck in the entire country yet, and at least like that one. And we're sitting there with 2 flat tires, miles away from anywhere, and I'm thinking, how are we going to get through this? And what's going to happen next?
We're on the road. We're approximately 40 minutes from the town of Jeremy. Kind of went over a rock bed, and it blew the outside rear tire here on the passenger side. We think it blew because the inside tire was low, nobody could see it. So what we're trying to do is to MacGyver plan. Looks like we're going to take one tire off the back to be able to repair it, put a good tire from the front onto the back, and put the repaired back tire on the front, and that should be able to get us into some place until we can get a better repair. So it's a temporary fix at best, but we do think we can get it done and get back on the road.
But at the same time, I don't know if it was just me being on trips before or I'm just an optimist in general, and so I wasn't worried. There's always something that goes wrong on a trip. There's always some kind of breakdown, and I found that it's often in those breakdowns and those unplanned circumstances that really special things start to happen.
Look at your toenails. Get a shot of that. Oh, that's all right, Chris. I'm not telling you what to do.
He's my producer.
That time standing around waiting for them to come up with a solution to the flat tire problem, I think was one of the beginning moments for me at least, for connecting with the group and actually getting to know them and enjoy just being in everybody's presence. I think if we hadn't have had the flat tire incident, it would have taken me a little bit longer to really connect with the rest of the group and get to know them.
Is that another animal? Oh, yeah, above all the blue. Want somebody riding a motorcycle? Guy will drive one of the trucks?
And so that hour or so of us just standing by the road and waiting for a tire iron or whatever they needed to fix the tire probably resulted in much better relationships with the team than if that had never happened.
This is the first bee in all of Haiti. That was a good rhyme. His name is Haiti.
Come like a mighty come like a mighty
Now we're going to have somebody ride a motorcycle to keep the weight off, and we're going to drive one of the vehicles in. So we're going to keep this vehicle as light as possible.
All right, we made some temporary repairs on the truck. We've taken 2 tires off, split them. So we got one on each rear of the double axle. We're taking that into the town of Jeremy in order to get finished. And the rest of us are heading out to Damé Marie.
The rest of the trip had so many things to see. Beautiful green forests, Caribbean sea views from the mountains themselves, random goats and cows tied up on the sides of the road, and naked people bathing in the river.
It's very bumpy. It's very long. It does get a little bit boring after a while. You really have to make your own fun because you're just sitting there bouncing up and down, and you know, how many times can you say, oh, look at that tree as you drive by? I like to take it as a time to plan ahead, to think about, you know, what I was expecting from the trip, just to look at everybody and see what was going by, and two, to just, you know, talk to the other people in the car and get to know them.
I know.
Independence as it was, yeah, when I was
Well, tell a goat to smile, will you?
Just if I could spend money with you as a friend.
It took over 6 hours to get to Damé Marie, but it was well worth the wait. When we finally arrived in town, we were greeted by, well, the town.
We were the first car to pull up, and we actually we waited for probably like 2 minutes for everybody else to come in behind us. They said, all right, you can get out of the car now. And I was like, okay, what are we supposed to do?
Do a little dance for you. You get out and follow them.
I heard a couple minutes before we hit into town that there was going to be a welcoming party for us, that the people would be there and wanting to meet us at the entrance to the city, and they'd want to walk us in the last mile or so.
I remember them saying, like, you're going to get kissed and you're going to get hugged and you're going to be welcomed, but beyond that, being out there with the people and them acting like they already knew you and had been praying for you, and just the connection we had right away was amazing. And then to have the children out there singing and the music and the marching, it was so well put together, and you could just feel the joy in the atmosphere.
We were greeted with, I can't even explain, the greatest greeting. I felt like a king. The Haitian people are so loving, and it was just the first taste of it that I really got for the week.
That was probably the high point of the whole experience for me, you know. The greeting was exceptional, you know, the whole town seemed to come out, you know, the people were very happy, they were, you know, hugging and kissing.
The ladies from the church were all dressed up and each greeted us with a bonsoir, which means good evening, and a hug and a kiss. All 50 of them. The Children's Brigade was in full uniform with a color guard and a drum line.
There were about 400, 500 people. They marched us for a whole mile to the church that we stayed at, playing all sorts of music and marching, and they were all dressed up.
It was truly overwhelming. All of us were almost in tears with the amount of love that was pouring out of the residents of Damé Marie. We all walked a mile back into town together, led by the youth brigade and the ladies of the church, singing the whole way.
People of Damé Marie are special to me just because being there just for a short period of time, which is 3 or 4 days twice, they just embrace you as you come in. Literally embrace you as you come into town. The congregation does. They meet you at the edge of town, and it's a parade coming in to the church.
I'm just wondering what I'm going to do about the Super Bowl party tomorrow. I've gotten several invitations, and I just don't know where to go.
Seriously, what do you think about the welcome?
You know, usually when I walk into town, people get their babies off the street, they close their windows, start slamming doors. This is the best reception I've ever gotten. I think I better move here.
This is amazing. They try to warn you for it and tell you that this is what's going to happen, but they're just so loving, and it's just great to be able to walk into town like this with them.
We all piled into the church for a greeting from the pastor and the deacons. Even though there's a cultural difference and a language barrier, we all worship the same God and believe the same things, and that is awesome, and all you need.
Heavenly Father, nous pas vraiment pour Dieu merci. Sinon nous t'a prié pour arriver seul nous. Because we were praying for our brothers and sisters. Et merci pour arriver très bien. And they are here safe and sound. We pray that we have a good time together this week. Our family and Kai's and their family back in the state will have a good week also. We thank you in your Son, in Jesus Christ.
Amen. Non, l'église Damé Marie.
In the name of Damé Marie Church.
Non, comité d'église là.
In the name of the committee of the church.
Non, moi-même pasteur d'église là.
In the name of pastor of the church.
Nous disons bienvenue à toute équipe là qui sont aux États-Unis.
Welcome to you.
Et qui sont au Caire aussi.
And welcome to the team from Kai's and from the state.
Nous passons bon temps avec nous ici à Damé Marie.
May you have a good time here with us this week.
Et bon Dieu a béni tout ça que vous venez faire ici.
May God bless everything we do and say here.
How can I really tell them that my heart is here, that I really have a concern, really have a love for you? And for me, it was to learn the language, or to keep trying to learn the language. So I started.
We're happy to see you.
Ici parce que bon Dieu
because God
te porte nous ici.
Because God brought us here.
Et c'est mon avec nous.
The team and I.
Nous avons 4 églises representation.
We have 4 churches represent us.
We are one body in Jesus Christ.
Parce que nous sommes seul dans Jésus-Christ.
We are of 2 languages.
Nous avons 2 langues différentes.
We are of 2 cultures.
Nous avons 2 cultures.
But there is one God and one in all.
Mais c'est bien un seul bon Dieu et un seul bon Dieu dans nous tous.
We are here to be your servants.
Nous là pour nous servir.
Your friends.
Nous là comme amis.
And your brothers and sisters in
Et
Christ.
nous là comme frères avec sœurs dans Jésus-Christ.
God bless you all.
Bon Dieu bénisse nous tous.
We welcome you, our visitor, and we thank you for your special visit, the brothers and sisters Calvary Baptist Church. So, you leave your country, your family, your activities to come and support us. God knows what you do.
We sat down to a fantastic meal that consisted of, all homemade from scratch, rice and beans, fried plantains, lobster, and Ryan's out. Good night. Conch, cabbage, this amazing fish thing, and a scalloped potato-like dish. All in all, it was a fantastic day.
Got the love of Jesus down in my heart, down in my heart. down in my heart. Got the love of Jesus down in my heart to stay.